If you are over 60, I want to share something that may completely change the way you think about your morning routine. Most people believe that fatigue, slower metabolism, and gradual weight gain are simply a normal part of getting older. They think that after 60, after 70, after 80, your body just slows down. Energy declines. Fat becomes harder to lose. And recovery takes longer than it used to. But over the last decade, researchers studying aging metabolism have discovered something very interesting. In many cases, the problem is not simply age. The real issue is how the body produces and uses energy at the cellular level. Inside every cell in your body are tiny structures called mitochondria. You can think of them as the power plants of your cells. They are responsible for producing the energy your muscles use to move, your brain uses to think, and your organs use to function properly. When you are young, your cells contain thousands of these tiny power plants. They work efficiently. Energy production is strong. But as we grow older, something changes. Research measuring mitochondrial density in adults shows that by the time many people reach their 60s and 70s, mitochondrial activity can decline significantly. That means your cells are literally producing less energy. And when your cells produce less energy, several things begin to happen at the same time. You may feel tired more easily. Your metabolism may slow down. Your body may begin storing more fat, especially around the abdomen. And your muscles may take longer to recover after activity. But here is the part many people do not realize. These changes are not completely fixed. Your body still has remarkable ability to respond to the right signals. And one of the most powerful signals your body understands involves something your body can use as fuel. Most people believe the body runs primarily on glucose. In other words, sugar from carbohydrates. But your body actually has another fuel source, a very powerful one. It is called ketones. Ketones are molecules your body can produce when it begins using fat as fuel. When ketones are present in the bloodstream, your cells receive a different metabolic signal. Instead of relying only on sugar, they begin using fat more efficiently for energy. And many researchers studying metabolism have observed something fascinating. When this shift happens, several positive processes may occur at the same time. Cells may begin producing energy more efficiently. Fat oxidation may increase, and the body may enter a metabolic state that supports long-term health. Now here is where things become interesting. Your body can produce ketones naturally during fasting. For example, when you sleep overnight and have not eaten for many hours. But there is another way to gently support ketone production without extreme diets, and that involves a specific type of dietary fat. This fat behaves very differently from most fats we eat. Most fats must go through a long digestive process before they are used for energy. But this particular type of fat is absorbed quickly and converted into energy almost immediately. Because of this unique property, it has become very popular in metabolic research. When small amounts are consumed in the morning, especially with coffee, many people report improved mental clarity, steady energy, and reduced morning hunger. But the interesting part is not just how people feel. It is what researchers observe inside the body. Studies examining this fat show that it may support several metabolic pathways associated with healthy aging. First, it may support the body's ability to burn stored fat for energy. Second, it may help cells produce energy more efficiently. And third, it may help stabilize energy levels throughout the morning. Now, before we continue, I want to ask you a quick question. How old are you? And where are you watching from today? Many viewers here are in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s. And your experience may help someone else feel encouraged about improving their daily habits. Now let's take a closer look at how this simple morning habit may influence metabolism. Because once you understand what happens inside the body, the entire idea begins to make much more sense. When certain fats enter the liver, they can be converted into molecules called ketones. One of the most studied ketones is called beta-hydroxybutyrate. Researchers have been studying this molecule extensively over the past several years, not because it is new, but because scientists are beginning to understand how it interacts with cellular energy systems. When beta-hydroxybutyrate levels increase slightly, cells may become more efficient at producing energy. This is important because efficient cellular energy production supports many processes in the body: muscle activity, brain function, metabolic regulation, and overall vitality. But that is only the beginning. because researchers have identified several additional mechanisms that may explain why this simple morning habit has gained so much attention. In the next section of this video, we will explore the 5 metabolic mechanisms scientists have identified when this type of fat is introduced into the morning routine. And the second mechanism is particularly fascinating because it may help explain why many people notice improved energy levels within the first few weeks. In the first part of this video, we talked about how energy production changes after 60 and why many people begin feeling more tired as the years go by. Now let's explore something researchers have been studying very closely in recent years. When certain fats are introduced into the body, they can trigger a shift in how the body produces energy. Instead of relying mostly on glucose, the body begins using fat as fuel more efficiently. Scientists often refer to this as metabolic flexibility, and this shift may activate several biological mechanisms that support healthy aging. Let's go through the first one. Mechanism number 1 is fat oxidation. When the body produces ketones, it begins increasing the rate at which stored fat is used as fuel. Researchers measuring fat metabolism have observed that certain dietary fats can increase fat oxidation rates compared with standard diets. This means the body becomes more willing to burn stored fat for energy rather than store it. And this is especially important for one type of fat that many people over 60 struggle with: visceral fat. Visceral fat is the fat stored around internal organs. It is different from the fat just under the skin. Visceral fat is metabolically active and has been associated with inflammation, insulin resistance, and metabolic imbalance. Reducing visceral fat has been one of the major goals in many metabolic health studies. And increasing fat oxidation is one of the strategies researchers investigate to support this process. Now let's move to the second mechanism. This one involves the tiny power plants inside your cells, your mitochondria. Remember earlier we discussed how mitochondrial activity declines with age. Researchers have been studying ways to support mitochondrial function because these structures are essential for energy production. Some metabolic studies have observed that when ketone levels rise slightly in the bloodstream, cells may increase the activity of genes involved in mitochondrial function. In simple terms, cells may begin producing energy more efficiently. For many people, this can translate into something noticeable in everyday life: better mental clarity, steadier energy levels, and less of the mid-morning fatigue that many people experience. Now let's move to mechanism number 3. This one is about metabolic balance. As people age, many cells become less sensitive to insulin. This means the body must produce more insulin to manage the same amount of glucose. Over time, this can influence energy levels, fat storage, and overall metabolic health. When the body begins using fat as an additional fuel source, the reliance on glucose may decrease slightly. Researchers studying metabolic flexibility have observed that this shift may support improved energy balance. Again, this does not happen overnight, but consistent daily habits can gradually support the body's natural metabolic systems. Now let's talk about mechanism number 4, muscle preservation. After the age of 60, muscle mass naturally begins to decline. This process is called sarcopenia. Muscle tissue is extremely important because it plays a major role in metabolism, mobility, and overall strength. When muscle mass decreases, metabolism often slows as well. Some metabolic studies suggest that when the body has access to alternative fuel sources such as ketones, muscle tissue may be preserved more effectively during periods of calorie control. In other words, the body may rely less on breaking down muscle tissue for energy. Instead, it can draw energy from fat stores. This is one reason why many metabolic researchers focus on fuel flexibility when studying healthy aging. Now let's move to the 5th mechanism. And this is where the morning coffee connection becomes interesting. Coffee naturally contains caffeine. Caffeine has been studied for its ability to stimulate the nervous system and increase energy expenditure. It can also increase the release of stored fat from fat cells. But there is an important detail. When fat is released from storage, the body must immediately use that fat as fuel. Otherwise, it may simply be stored again. This is where combining certain fats with coffee becomes interesting from a metabolic perspective. Coffee helps mobilize stored fat, and the additional fat source provides fuel that encourages the body to use fat as energy. Together, these two processes may support a metabolic environment where fat is used more efficiently. This is why many people choose to add a small amount of specific fats to their morning coffee, not as a magic solution, but as a metabolic signal to the body. Now, before we continue, I want to ask you something. Do you drink coffee in the morning? And if you do, how many cups per day? Many people watching this video have had the same morning routine for decades. But sometimes a small adjustment to that routine can produce noticeable changes over time. In the next section of this video, we'll talk about the simple morning protocol many people follow when using this method, because the timing, the amount, and the preparation all make a difference. And there are also a few common mistakes that can prevent people from seeing the benefits they expect. Now that we understand the metabolic mechanisms, the next question becomes very simple. How exactly should this morning habit be done? Because with nutrition, small details often make a big difference. Let's walk through a simple approach many people follow. The first step is choosing the right type of fat. The fat most often used in this morning routine is called MCT oil. MCT stands for medium-chain triglycerides. These fats are different from most dietary fats because they are absorbed quickly and transported directly to the liver. There, they can be converted into ketones that the body may use for energy. Not all MCT oils are identical. Some contain different types of fatty acids. Two of the most commonly discussed types are called C8 and C10. These forms are often chosen because they convert to ketones more efficiently than longer-chain fats. Many people simply start with a small amount, about 1 teaspoon added to their morning coffee. Why start small? Because the digestive system sometimes needs time to adjust. Introducing too much too quickly may cause stomach discomfort. A gradual increase allows the body to adapt. After several days, some people increase the amount to 1 tablespoon. Others remain at a smaller amount if it feels comfortable. The goal is not excess. The goal is consistency. The next important step is how the coffee is prepared. Many people simply pour the oil into coffee and stir it. But that does not mix the ingredients properly. Oil tends to float on the surface. Instead, blending the coffee for a few seconds creates a smooth mixture. When blended, the coffee becomes creamy, similar to a latte. This also distributes the oil evenly throughout the drink. Some people choose to add a small amount of butter or ghee. These fats contain compounds that may support satiety and digestive comfort. However, this step is optional. The key ingredient remains the MCT oil. Now let's talk about timing. Timing is surprisingly important. Many people consume this coffee first thing in the morning before eating breakfast. After a night of sleep, the body is already in a mild fasting state. During this time, insulin levels are typically lower. This creates an environment where the body may begin using fat as fuel more easily. Some people then wait 2 to 3 hours before eating their first meal. This period allows the body to continue using fat for energy before new calories are introduced. Again, this is not a strict rule. It is simply a pattern that many people find works well. Now let's discuss a few common mistakes. Mistake number 1 is using too much too quickly. Some people hear about this method and immediately add 2 or 3 tablespoons of oil. This often leads to digestive discomfort. Starting slowly is almost always better. Mistake number 2 is forgetting that overall diet still matters. Adding MCT oil to coffee does not replace balanced nutrition. Healthy eating patterns remain important. Vegetables, fruits, fiber, protein, and healthy fats should still be part of daily meals. This coffee habit is simply one small component of a larger lifestyle. Mistake number 3 is expecting immediate dramatic results. Metabolic changes usually happen gradually. Energy levels may improve first. Body composition changes may take several weeks. Consistency is what makes the difference. Now let's talk about what people often notice during the first few weeks. During the first week, many people report something interesting. Mental clarity. Ketones can be used by brain cells as an efficient fuel source. Because of this, some people feel more focused in the morning. Another common experience is reduced hunger. Fat and ketones tend to support satiety. This means some people naturally feel less interested in snacking between meals. Over several weeks, people sometimes begin noticing gradual changes in body composition. Abdominal fat may slowly decrease. Energy during daily activities may feel steadier. And for people who combine this habit with regular walking or resistance exercise, strength and stamina may improve. But remember something very important. No single food or habit transforms health overnight. Healthy aging is built on small daily actions repeated consistently over time. Nutrition, movement, sleep, stress management, and daily routines. Together, these habits create the environment your body needs to function well for many years. And that brings us back to the idea we discussed at the beginning of this video. Aging does not mean your body stops responding. Your body still listens to signals. The foods you eat, the habits you repeat, the way you fuel your cells each day, these signals shape how your metabolism works, even after 60, even after 70, even after 80. So if you enjoy coffee in the morning, a small adjustment to that routine may be worth trying. Not because it is a miracle solution, but because small habits can add up to meaningful results. Now I'd love to hear from you. How old are you? And what is your morning routine? Do you drink coffee every morning? Share in the comments. Many viewers here are in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, and your experience may help others learn new ideas for supporting their health. If you found this video helpful, consider subscribing to the channel. Here we talk about simple habits, nutrition insights, and lifestyle strategies that may support healthy aging. And if you would like to learn about another daily habit that many seniors use to support energy and metabolism, you may enjoy the next video on your screen. Thank you for spending this time here today. Take good care of yourself, listen to your body, and remember that small daily choices often create the biggest long-term changes.